Car buying tips for first time buyers. Hi, my name is Mdu. Today we'll be talking about exactly the tips that you should consider before you go buy your first car. Tip number one is to build your credit score, right? For first time buyers, it's usually people who have just recently started working and people who just recently graduated and stuff like that. But it's not always the case. Also, there's people who've been working for a certain period of time and they're looking to buy a car. So building your credit score is very important, right? At least have a 3 months of credit record that you've already built for yourself. So when you have a credit score, you are able to negotiate for yourselves, right? By negotiating, you negotiate the terms of the agreement, meaning you can negotiate your interest rate, you can negotiate your payment terms, you can negotiate your balloon payment. And if you have a record, the creditors have a record of how you are paying for your credit, it's easier for you to negotiate than someone who has no record at all or a bad credit score. So tip number two is to avoid a balloon payment. I know these days cars are very expensive and it's rare to find a deal without a balloon payment. For those who don't know what a balloon payment is, so a balloon payment is the money you're gonna pay at the end of the term of your agreement. So if they said you're gonna pay for this car for 5 years and you have a balloon payment of, let's say, 100,000 rands, meaning after 5 years that 100,000 rands you should have it, meaning you should give that 100,000 to the bank now, right? And then your credit will be settled in full. So avoid a balloon payment. I know these days cars are very expensive. It's hard to find a car without a balloon payment. But if there is a balloon payment, at least try negotiate it down, right? So that you don't have a large sum of money at the end of your term. I know that banks now these days, they even afford you an opportunity to finance a balloon payment. So you would buy a car for 5 years and then they say you have maybe 200,000 rands a balloon payment at the end. Meaning after that 5 years, you will pay that balloon payment also with negotiated terms, meaning if you don't have 200,000 at that end of the term, you maybe ask for a grace period to pay it for like 3 years, 2 years, or whatever the case is. Meaning now you would have bought the car for like 7 years, of which it does not make mathematical sense to pay for a car for like 7 years, 8 years, or 9 years, right? So make sure that you avoid a balloon payment. If there is one, try to negotiate it down so that it does not become a lot of money of which you won't have at the end of the term, and a lot of money that will require you to extend the period of your debt. So try avoid having a balloon payment. And then tip number three is to understand interest rates, right? So an interest rate is the money that is charged by the bank on a monthly basis, right? It's what they make from borrowing you money, essentially. So I'll make an example. Let's say the bank borrows you 100,000 rands to go buy a car, and then they charge you 10% interest rate. So a 10% interest rate is like 10,000 rand for the whole year. So you're gonna say 100,000 times 10%, meaning you'll have 10,000 rands. That will be interest that you're gonna be paying to the bank on a yearly basis. So if you understand interest rate, you won't just take any interest rate that is given to you. So it's very important that you understand interest rates before you go buy a car. Because I remember back in 2021 or so, a friend of mine wanted to buy a car and they offered him 20% interest rate. That is a very high interest rate. And obviously, if you don't have a credit score or a credit record, they usually offer you higher interest rate. And if you are a risky client, meaning you have a bad credit score, credit record, they're gonna also offer you a high interest rate. So if they've given you a high interest rate, try to negotiate it down. Or if you see that it doesn't make sense to you, at least go back, boost your credit score, and come back and buy the car that you want. So it's very important that you understand interest rates before you buy your first car. And then what's tip number 4 now that you need to know before you go buy your first car is the term, right? The loan term. I've been talking about 5 years ever since I started this video, right? But in these days, it's very rare to find a car that you're gonna be paying for 5 years, because now cars are more expensive, and the risky thingy credit consideration has been high recently, right? So the normal term these days, it's 72 months. So 72, the normal car paying term loan now is 72 months. And I've seen some cars now are going for 84 months, meaning 7 years, paying for a car for 7 years. And you need to take into consideration that the balloon payment, if you then have that money at the end, is going to add the term of your loan. So now people are going to be paying for cars for 10 years. And if you're a first time buyer, I doubt you want to find yourself in that situation where you are buying or paying for a car for 10 years. Because in 10 years, a lot can change. Maybe you don't want that car anymore, and that car model is now like long outdated, and you are still paying for it. So it's very important to consider the term of your loan. Don't just take anything that is being offered to you, right? Because you're gonna be ripped off, and you're gonna be paying for something you're gonna hate in future. Because I don't think someone will still be paying for a car with good spirit after 9 years. Meaning, if you've bought a GTI now, how many GTIs have been released in that period? And when you are still paying for that one from 9 years ago. So you need to be very careful when you are choosing the term of your loan. And then, so another tip you should consider is having a deposit. I know many people that will be buying the car for the first time in their life, they might not have a deposit. But having a deposit is a benefit for you, because it'll lower your terms of your negotiations, right? You can negotiate a lower term of the loan. Instead of buying a car for a longer term, you can negotiate the terms depending on how much deposit you are putting in, right? And then you can also negotiate an interest rate. So having a deposit lowers your risk. They see you as a less riskier client than someone who's coming with 0 cents just to get a car. So the person that is just coming to get a car in the dealership and leave is more riskier than someone that is coming with a deposit. But it's not a problem if you don't have it. But having it, you need to understand that it lowers your risk, and it favors you in terms of negotiations, because you are a lower risk client. And then the last tip that I'm going to be giving you for buying that car is to shop around for the best car financing deals before going to the dealership, right? A lot of people make a mistake of listening to the car salesman in terms of the loan or whatever it is that is required from you as a customer in buying a car. So do not go there having not shopped around for a car financing deal. So if you shop around before going to the dealership, you have a time to negotiate how much you want to pay. You have time to negotiate what your interest rate is. You have time to negotiate the term of your loan, right? So take that into consideration before you go there to buy a car. Shop around, see what FNB is offering you, see what Nedbank is offering you, see what Westbank is offering you before you go there. Because when you get there, you might take deals that are unfavorable for you. meaning after a couple of months or years you're gonna regret taking the loan with that bank, because now maybe it's a term that is ridiculous, or maybe they gave you an interest rate that is too high, and you listen to other people, they're telling you they're paying 10%, 11%, and you are stuck with 18%, 20%, or whatever the case is. So when you shop around, you get to pick the deal that works for you, and then you're gonna be happy and enjoy your car for the rest of its time. So those are the car tips I'm sharing today. This month I'll be sharing videos talking about car financing, buying your first car, buying that car, until April ends. So stick around. If you liked this video, please click like. If there's a specific topic relating to cars that you want me to share, comment down there. From Do Your Favorite Digital Friend, I'm out.